Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday. We are Tuesday Town Hall with Certified PA Consulting. I'm Kasey D'Amato. I'm president of Certified PA Consulting. Been a PA since 2003. Been consulting since 2009. I own multiple businesses. I am a top generator as a PA, was top paid PA, managed a multi-million-dollar practice, and have been the leading expert in PA salaries, contract negotiations, and business consulting for over a decade. So hopefully my information will help you. I'm committing in 2021 to do Tuesday, a live event on Certified PA Consulting every Tuesday at 12:30 East Coast. If you're in clinic, don't worry, because it will stay on the Facebook page and you can come back and check it after. If you have questions that you want me to address on Tuesday town halls, please email team@Certified PA Consulting. We'll send you a short survey. You can send in your questions and I will answer as many as I can every Tuesday. And again, they stay on our website on Facebook, so you can catch it after the fact. They're going to live there, so you can come and catch that anytime. So email team@Certified PA Consulting if you want to become a member of our Facebook Tuesday Town Hall group. It is free, 100% free, but this is the only way I get your questions, because I can't see everybody's questions coming on Instagram and Facebook, and some people are in clinic. So this way you can send your questions in, I will answer them, and you can come back to the Facebook page anytime. Tag your friends if it's a question you know that somebody else was struggling with, and hopefully some of the information that I'm sharing will be helpful. Again, I've been doing this a very, very, very long time. Helped tens of thousands of PAs navigate the world of salaries, contracts, negotiations, business startup, conflict resolution, and everything in between. So I'm excited today. If you're here and you're available, feel free to write your questions and I'll see if I can see questions. Sometimes I can't always see them. I use this app on Facebook so I can put little sticky notes and write highlights about what I'm saying. So it's hard for me to see the Facebook comments. Instagram, I should be able to see Instagram if anybody is hopping on Instagram Live, but you won't be able to see my sticky notes when I reiterate points if you are on Instagram. On Facebook, you can. So Facebook is a little bit more robust because I have this tool that I can use on Facebook. I'm still learning it, bear with me, but I do have this tool. So hopefully that is helpful. Also, a little sneak peek, we have some really super exciting webinars coming up that you are the first to know about. They're going to start the first week of February. So some really cool stuff that we're going to be talking about, how PA salaries are changing in 2021. We're talking about some student loan stuff, talking to other PAs who have very successful businesses and everything in between. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for some more webinars that are coming. But every Tuesday, 30 minutes, I come on live at 12:30 East Coast and answer all of your questions. So if you want to join, email team@Certified PA Consulting, and fill out a quick survey, send in your questions, and I will answer them. So there's two questions that I want to address today. The first one came in from an experienced PA who is having some challenges getting a conversation going with their supervising doc because the office manager wants to be in the middle of the conversation. And this is a common, I'm going to write this on the sticky note if you're on Facebook. This is a common thing that comes up. So office manager getting involved in the negotiations. It's not always a bad thing, but it can be. So it really just depends on the situation. Now, in this person's I have a typo here. In this person's instance, they're really feeling that the office manager is gatekeeping the situation and, kind of inhibiting them from having a very honest dialogue and open communication with their supervising doc or practice owner. So if this is the case, it's a delicate situation because the practice owner most likely trusts the office manager with all of the finance, and the practice owner might be as uncomfortable with negotiation as you are, and they don't really want to have the conversation. They would rather you just have it with the office manager as well. So this is when it gets really important to talk about long-term goals. It's if you bring up your negotiation specifically around a contract review, an annual review, or around your salary negotiating, if you use any of those words, most likely the office manager is going to come in the middle because he or she feels that that's her role, and the supervising doc or practice owner might want that to be their role. So if you want to have a conversation with your supervising doc, the question really needs to be around what their vision is for the practice for the future. And we talk about this so much in our masterclass course that's coming back, by the way, in about 6 weeks. Because if you set a meeting to say, hey, I really want to have a conversation about what the practice is looking for this year. I would like to maybe expand my role. I'd love to know what your visions are about expanding the practice or expanding my role within the practice. Kind of phrasing it around the business and the vision and future of the business and the practice can sometimes be a way that you can navigate around the office manager. I see a bunch of people joining on. So if you're just joining on right now, we're talking about how the office manager can sometimes get in the middle and make it sort of a triangle negotiation process, which can be complicated. It's not always bad. So I don't want to say that it's 100% always bad. Sometimes it can be fine to negotiate with the office manager, but in some cases it is complicated, and the office manager is the gatekeeper, and it's hard to have open dialogue and open communication with the supervising doc or the practice owner. So remember, when you're scheduling that meeting, reach out to the practice owner and say, hey, I'd like to just set up a couple minutes on your schedule to talk about the future of the practice, your goals for the practice. How can I help you? I have some ideas for the future of the practice myself, and I see some challenges maybe I can help you overcome, and make it about them and about helping them, not about you and you trying to ask for more money or you looking for feedback or validation on the work that you've done. Make it about them. And if you do that, you're going to have more likely chance to get a meeting with the practice owner, hopefully without the practice manager, the office manager involved. Now, if the office manager does want to be involved, the next best option is to have a three-way conversation so that you're all in the same room together, so that you're not negotiating with the office manager alone, and then that person is playing the telephone game and relaying your message to the practice owner and then coming back to you, and you're going, kind of communicating through another person. That's never ideal in negotiating. So the second choice, if you can't get a meeting with the practice owner specifically, by phrasing it about their goals and their future for the practice, not about your negotiation, your performance review, your annual review, or any of those things that say it's about you. You say it's about them. That should help circumvent the office manager and get a meeting with the practice owner. You have some ideas for the future and things like that. That should help. If you're still hitting roadblocks, the second best thing is to have a three-way meeting where you're all sitting down in the room together. Now, it's best if you can. It's challenging right now because of the pandemic. It's best if you can to do it in a neutral location. So if you can go out for coffee or something like that and meet in a neutral location rather than in somebody's office, in either the office manager or the supervising doc's office. Look at my coworker back there getting on the couch. So it's better to have the meeting in a neutral location rather than in somebody's office. So that's the second option, is to have a three-way conversation. Now, remember, when you do sit down and you're having that negotiation conversation, start it off with, how can I help you? What is your vision for this year? How can I help you recover from maybe the challenges of 2020 with the pandemic? What is the vision for the future? I really want to better understand so that I can help align and help grow what you want. Really make the conversation about them. We teach a whole module on this in our masterclass, which again is coming in 6 weeks, and it's a deep dive into how to really master the negotiation conversation, because ultimately you can gain small wins talking about yourself. One of my favorite quotes: people say yes and give money to people who understand them, not who they understand. So if you're talking about yourself, they will understand. They'll understand that you've been there for 5 years or 10 years. They'll understand that you're working really hard. They'll understand all these things, and they might be able to compromise a small amount, but you'll get much bigger wins, much bigger wins if you can make it about them and how you are going to help them. What is the future of their practice? What is their vision, and how can you help them get there? And in doing so, How can you be rewarded for those efforts? So it's really about the future. Remember, and again, no matter who you're talking to, office manager or supervising doc or practice owner, it is 100% about the future when you're having a negotiation. Very little conversation about the past and how long you've been there, or any of those kind of things. It's about the future. Where do you want to go from now forward? Because the money that you made 5 years ago or 10 years ago, that money is gone. You're talking about negotiating an increased salary for the future. So you want to be talking about your efforts to help the practice, your efforts to grow, whether it's revenue or whether it's non-revenue, whether it's management activities, whether it's overseeing research, whether it's helping with marketing, whether it's overseeing staff, whatever it is. How are you helping? What are you doing to level up in trade for leveling up your salary? That doesn't matter if you're talking to the office manager, which you can have the same conversation with the office manager. If you cannot get around that gatekeeper, that's okay. What does the office manager, how can you help him or her? And I've had to do this in my practice. I went to the office manager, said, how could I make your life better? What do you want to do? She was a part-time esthetician on the side. She saw some patients in the evenings and did some procedures. And she said, I really want to do more esthetician services and less office manager, type of things. And I said, I will refer patients to you. Of course, hands down. How many patients a week do you want more? And I made sure that I referred patients to her. That's what she wanted for her personal goals. And in trade, she helped me kind of navigate my schedule and some other things that I wanted. So and helped, if I had a slow day, fill my schedule and things like that. So you can have the same exact conversation with the office manager as you can with a supervising doc. So they are not always the obstacle, because if you can figure out how to negotiate with them, how do you make their life better? What do they want? What is their daily life like, and how can you help them? And in trade, how can they help you negotiate with a supervising doc or the practice owner? So if you have to go through that gatekeeper, it's just a second step in the negotiation, but the strategy is the same. The strategy is the same. You're talking about the future, you're talking about the other person, not about yourself. If you talk about yourself, you'll get small wins, small wins. But the PAs that are super successful and business owners and other entrepreneurs that I know will always, 100% always talk about how they're going to help the other person. And that gives you wins that are so much greater than talking about yourself and what you're entitled to and what you've earned. And, in kind of playing into that victim role, or on the defensive, that you're fighting for this more money that they're holding back from you. That won't result in a lot of money, a very small amount. But really thinking about how you can help and team up and align to grow and accelerate, those are the PAs that are making a lot, and that have very successful negotiating. Those are the clients we work with that the wins are in the tens of thousands. And people that can't get out of their mindset and talk about themselves and their own performance review, and that they've been there for 10 years and they earn it and they deserve it, and they're not making as much as so and so, and they compare to others. Those people get small incremental raises, but it's hard to get a big raise. And if you do, it can come with some hard feelings, because you're being more demanding about it, and you're in less of a team. The more team approach and the more you focus on the other person's goals and how to help them reach their goals, the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. We've had clients that are personal salaries over $400,000, and that is the truth. Personal salaries as a PA over $400,000. These are the PAs who know how to negotiate. They work with us over the years and they get it. So make sure you start changing the way you're thinking in 2021. Okay, one of the other questions I want to talk about, because I know I spent a lot of time on that one, is, let me add another sticky note here with this tool I have on Facebook Messenger. Another one I want to talk about is competitive situations with coworkers and how to deal with this. This comes up a lot. So this, and it happens to everybody. This is PA, NP, physician, doesn't matter. So co-worker competition. We're all in this together, right? Everybody wants to, I have a little typo there. Okay, everybody wants to succeed. And if you're paid on performance, on what you bring into the practice, This is a very delicate situation. And I've been paid on performance, as well as my partner, Catherine, for our entire careers over 18 years in group practices. And I know firsthand the feeling when a new provider joins practice and all of a sudden you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose all my patients and all my income. And you start feeling super territorial and protective over your patients. Well, guess what? When you join a new practice, this is how the other providers feel. So be respectful of that. If you see a patient who normally sees one of the other providers, make sure you refer them back and tell that provider, hey, I saw Joe Smith today. His whatever GI symptoms had flared up. I put him on this. I told him to follow up with you next week. Be respectful of the other providers and the reputation that they have developed with their patient following, and do not hijack or poach patients from your colleagues or peers. So this is when marketing yourself becomes super important, because you're probably going to get the new patients. So networking with the front desk or the scheduling office, you're going to get the new patients, which already is going to make all the other providers a little uneasy because they're not going to have as many new patients. But that happens to all of us, and we learn that that's just the way it goes when a new provider joins a practice. So new patients, when you see that new patient, ask them to refer their friends or family. Just say, hey, I just joined this practice. I do have time on my schedule. If you know anybody who needs anything, make sure to let them know. People will appreciate that, and they'll appreciate knowing that they can get a sooner appointment. Physically hand your card to the new patients and say, you can email me, call me, feel free to share my information with your friends or colleagues, because I just joined, so I do have some more availability than some of the other providers. So you've got to actually hustle a little bit and build up your own patient following, so that the other providers in the practice do not feel threatened that you're going to steal or poach their patients. And it happens to all of us in every specialty, especially if you are paid on production. And if your revenue goes down, your paycheck's going to go down. And that's a scary feeling, especially in the pandemic when it's hard to predict patient volume. Oh, we just lost Instagram a little bit over there. Sorry, guys. Hopefully you'll come back. So don't poach patients. If you see an existing patient of another provider, tell them to go to the provider to follow up and talk to the provider and let them know that you told them that. Make it very clear that you are not there to poach patients from anybody else. On the new patients, schedule them to come back in person. Don't say to them, hey, just let me know if you need anything. If this doesn't get better, call me. Schedule the follow-up. I want to see this in 2 weeks or in a month or in 2 months, and make sure that this situation has resolved. Schedule the follow-up with them, even if it's telehealth, whatever it needs to be, so that you are getting your schedule full, and then hand them a card if they're physically with you, and let them know that they're welcome to share. That's number one. Number two, network with colleagues in the area, PAs, NPs, physicians, whoever. If you're in a specialty that has some other industries that can co-refer. So if you're in Durham, maybe you're networking with salons, hair, nail, massage, spas, things like that. If you're in ortho, maybe you're networking with gyms and personal trainers and those kind of network. If you are joining a new practice, it is not, and your schedule is not full. If somebody didn't just retire or move, and they're not, so that your schedule is super overflowing right away, that you have time on your schedule and other providers are territorial about their patients, then it's time to network. You just got to hit the streets, hit the phones, hit LinkedIn, hit email, get out there and set up meetings, set up coffee dates, meet people who have access to a big population of the type of patients that you would see in your practice. It's so that your colleagues now will not feel so competitive, because you're growing your own referral network. You're not going to touch their patients. Their patients that they've worked hard to grow, that's for them, and you are no longer a threat because you're getting your own referral sources. So those are the two big things. And the last one is to have a conversation and say to your PA colleague or physician colleague, look, I just joined the practice. I'm excited to grow. Let me know if I can help you. Is there anything I can do? Are there the type patients that you don't like seeing, or can I help you in any way? I just want you to know I'm not here to poach patients. If I happen to see somebody that is a longtime patient of yours, I will send them back. Get that right out in the open and just squash any threatening feeling that your colleague or coworker might be feeling by you joining, because it happens to all of us. It happened to me, it happened to my colleague, and we get those feelings when a new provider joins. And you know what? Our schedules were fine. And if you are the person in the existing office and a new provider joins, your schedule will be fine. So don't panic. Your patients love you and they're going to keep seeing you, keep networking, keep doing a good job. If you're the newbie to the group, be respectful. Have the conversation with your colleagues, network, really treat those new patients like VIPs. So they come back and they refer to you, ask for Yelp reviews or all those kind of things so that your reputation is building. If you have an Instagram account and it's appropriate to share before and after pictures or things, if you're in an industry like that and your practice is comfortable with it, get permission from the practice, make sure. But market yourself a little bit. If you're in an office that where your schedule's not full. Oh, we just lost Instagram. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I don't know. Instagram just fell offline for some reason. So unfortunately, Facebook, we're still cooking. Okay, I'm just gonna post it. We'll call it Tuesday Town Hall. Okay, so I wanted to nip that in the bud because everybody goes through that same situation with the competition when new providers join a practice. Hopefully Instagram, it just posted. Okay, so everybody goes through that same thing. So don't be that person that comes in and poaches patients. Don't be that person. Okay, I have one more, just time for one more. The last question I wanted to address comes up all the time because of course we have a lot of Durham PAs because I am a Durham PA, so just organically that happens. So we got asked a question this week about what is the average collections for a Durham PA? Guys, there's not an average. I wish there was. If you pick the number in the middle, it might not apply to you. And here's why. There's a range. I can give you the range and you can calculate the actual average, if you will, from the range. If you are full-time, 40 hours or more, the collections will be anywhere. Hang on, let me see if I can get Instagram back on because this is an important one. If you are full-time or more, then your collections will be anywhere from 400,000 to 1.4 million or more per year. That is a $1 million spread. And this is a dermatology PA we're talking about. Let me put another sticky note up here. So this is Durham PA, revenue range. 400,000 full-time. This is 40 hours or more, 400,000 to 1.4, maybe more, million per year. Okay. Now, when you're talking an average, technically you could take an average of that, right? You could add them together. That's 1.8, divide in the middle and say the average is 900,000. I can tell you that's not what the majority of Durham PAs generate, right? That's not. And if you're watching, then you know that. So why am I bringing this up? Because in dermatology specifically, and this happens in other specialties too, there are so many variables. You have how many hours per week, how many patients per day. Now, hours per week are going to range from some full-times considered at 32, some full-time is 50. That is 18 hours difference. That's massive. Okay, so you have hours per week. Now you have patients per day. Some full-time Derm PAs will max at like 15 to 20 patients a day. Others will see 50 or more. That is more than 30 patients a day difference. Huge. Then you have the type of procedures: general derm, aesthetics, surgical. Very different. All can be lucrative in their own way. All three. Well, I have seen all three of those categories generate well over $1 million. It is not aesthetics only, and it doesn't have to be surgical. In fact, general derm, quite a few clients over the years have generated well over $1 million annually in general derm. Then you have your staff support, which could be 1 MA, 2 MA, 3 MA, 4 MA. So again, huge variation in your expense. So when you're calculating your salary, your overall salary that you're generating has to cover everything related to you: your salary, your bonus, your benefit package, and dedicated staff. Where do you think the money's coming from? It comes from the money you generate. So To calculate the average is impossible. There's way too many variables. So I can tell you the ranges. The range is 400,000 to 1.4 million on collections. I can tell you salaries are going to be for full-time experienced Durham PAs somewhere from 120 to 400,000 plus. Big range. I can tell you that patients per day are going to be 15 to 18 a day, all the way to 50 or more a day, right? So how do you calculate what you should be paid, what's appropriate? The only way to do it is to calculate your cost of practice. And people who work with us know this formula. We teach it. We work with you. Number one, you've got to set up your goals, what you want. Number two, you have to know what the practice's goals are for you. So if you want to do aesthetics and the practice doesn't want you to do aesthetics, they want you to do only general, doesn't matter. Negotiations, irrelevant. And you can't force them to change their mind. They own the practice. It's their prerogative. You have to know your goals and their goals first. Those have to be aligned. Then you have to calculate your cost of practice percentage. And this is how you know if you have room to negotiate. You have to add up your salary, your bonus, your benefit package, and your dedicated staff costs all in one bucket, divide by what you generate per year, and you calculate your cost to practice percentage. That range will be somewhere between 25 and 42% probably, is appropriate and sustainable for a business. If it's in the low 20%, 25, 26%, that can be appropriate. If you're a little bit lower on the revenue collection side, you don't see as many patients per day, maybe you're part-time. If you're more experienced, you're generating more, you're doing more, you don't have a lot of staff support, so that that ratio, you might be on that, like hired to close to 40% cost to practice. This is not salary. This is cost to practice percentage. That's how you calculate if the office has room to potentially even give you more, because in some cases they don't. And we've had a lot of clients recently with a lot of Medicaid patients, and that's a super important patient population to serve, but it's a lower reimbursement. So that means there's less money, which means that there's going to be a little bit less salaries in those type of practices that see a high volume of Medicaid. It just is what it is. That's how the numbers work. So those patient populations reimburse a little bit less. Therefore, there's going to be a little bit lower salary there. So I hope that answers your question. We will work with you. Stay tuned. We have a webinar series coming out in a couple of weeks. We're going to be launching with all sorts of experts. We're diving into salaries in all specialties, just the professional salary trends this year. We're going to be talking about student loans. We're going to be talking about business of PAs. We've got our course launching again in March. For those of you who really want to become masters at negotiating, get a workbook that you can use for your whole career. It's coming. It was here last year. It's coming back. Stay tuned. All right, I have to sign off, everybody. If you want your questions answered, join the town hall community, email team@Certified PA Consulting, and we will send you a quick survey and get your questions. And then I will answer them. I answer as many as I can on 30 minutes Tuesday town halls every Tuesday, 12:30 East Coast. And it stays on our Facebook page. So I hope to see you there. If you need anything one-on-one services or consulting, of course, you can always email us, team@Certified PA Consulting. We're here for you for private services as well. Stay tuned for the webinars. Have a great, fantastic rest of your week, everybody. All right, see you soon.